Hi, I'm Lou. Another episode of My Car Story. I'm here with Shirley. Shirley, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you,
And I'm
Lou.
here with Eric.
Pleased to meet you, Lou.
And today we're looking at their car, and they've got, we're at the, what is it, the Indian Uprising here in St. Charles, Illinois. And they've got a great one-year-only car. What year car is it?
It's a 1977 Pontiac Can-Am.
1977 Pontiac Can-Am. And Eric, you've taken some time to put this car together. How long have you had this car with Shirley?
We bought this car in October, I believe it's October the 2nd, 1978. We happened to be riding around on an 850 Norton Commando.
Yeah.
And we had a stick shift Corvette before that, and we sold that. We were going through Aurora, and I picked it up at I looked at a Trans Am, and I couldn't get a deal on that. So I went by this, and I got a deal on it at Aurora Dodge.
So there's a couple of things. One is in 2008 you restored it for a year and a half. So we're going to see the restored
About
version.
a year and a half it took with my buddy. Really, he did all the work. I did chasing a lot of parts, and I did some little things, but yes.
So tell me, Shirley, when you were driving and he was driving home on the Norton motorcycle and you were tracing him, you had a little story that this car would only do 30 or 40 miles an hour, although on the Norton bike, Eric tells me you were doing 80. What were you looking at?
I have no idea.
What was she looking at, Eric?
Well, that was before Fox Valley was built, and that road was wide open.
Yeah.
Naperville was just a quiet little hole-in-the-wall town, and between Aurora and Naperville was nothing, so I opened it up to Norton a little bit.
And she was following you right behind
Right
her.
behind me, right
Never
on me.
looked
When we
at
pulled
the
home in Lyle, she
speedometer,
goes,
just was
Eric,
following
this
him."
car, we're not doing fast at all. 35 to 40 miles an hour.
That's it.
That's
right.
it.
And why was that?
She's looking at the tachometer.
With that being
I
said,
never saw the car before, so,
yeah, you're
you know.
learning as you're going.
Yeah.
Let's, Shirley, thanks for being with us. Eric, step right next to me over here.
Okay.
And let's take a look at our featured attraction. Here's the Can-Am. And Shirley, I have one more question for you before we take a full look at it.
Sure.
When you're riding in this car, what's the reaction of people when they see this car?
Well, if he's driving, everyone turns their head, and we were in Bettendorf, Iowa,
Yeah.
for a car show last month.
Yeah.
And from coming back from Iowa, I'm telling you, I keep saying, this guy's looking at you, that guy's looking at you.
Well,
It's
who
just
drove-
fun.
And who drove it here today?
You did.
No, I drove the other
Oh,
one.
that's true. We have two Pontiacs. So,
And you drove this one.
yes.
How's it ride?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's never changed.
All right, let's go right to the car. And there is our restored featured attraction. Let me jump in and get some of the highlights. Now, this is a full-size car, Eric. I mean, there's
Well, it
no...
was kind of mid-sized back then.
Is that right?
Yeah,
can open
it's
the
on
car.
a full size. It's a big one now, but really that was a mid-sized car. The Grand Prix was bigger yet in the Bonneville, and the Granvilles, they weren't out yet. But Bonneville was out. That was the big one too.
And you've got, what size engine is that?
It's
Is
a
it
400 Pontiac engine.
And that
Trans Am driveline.
was the cool piece to this car, was definitely the hood scoop that looked just like a Trans Am. I mean,
Right.
that was kind of unmistakable, along with these unique stripes that are to it. And we're featuring the mirrors there, and the Le Mans Sport Coupe, and the beautiful rally wheels with the aluminum trims in there. Let me see if I can get my best shot of the side of this car. Come on back with me. I'm going to try to move back as far as I can to get that. Sure. Let me see what I can do there. Getting the overall shot, and the cool venting in the back rear windows, and the wonderful. Yeah. And the tips and the wing that's on this car. Let me get an overall shot of the back. Just like that. Shirley, come on back in. What story do you want to tell me about Jim Wangers?
Mr. Wangers, who was
First
the
of all,
designer of this car.
who is Jim Wangers?
He worked for General Motors, and he designed the Can-Am.
Yes.
And he signed the front of the hood, and he was standing there one night, and I didn't know who he was or anything. I went to get a package from behind the car, and he said, "How long have you had this car?" I said, "Oh, since it was a year old." And he said, "Well, my name is Jim Wangers." I said, "That's nice." And he said, "I designed the car." And
Yeah.
I said, "Oh my gosh," you know. And he said, "Who put the stripes in there?" And I said, "Well, we had it recovered after all those years, and the my husband decided to put stripes in the seat. He said, we should have thought of that.
That's right.
He loved it.
He loved the stripes. We're gonna.
Do you want
go
to,
ahead.
Eric, open the
Yeah, show me those. Let me get this one decal on the back. Is the gas going behind the? Okay, got it. Go ahead, pull it
goes
over.
right there.
Just so people can see that. There's where your gas filler is. All right, let's take a look at the interior.
Oh, yeah, well, that's okay.
Let's take a look at the interior for just a second.
Yep, striping on the seats.
Now, Eric, there's one other piece to your car that I want to feature.
Yes.
Because this tag here has not been changed from the
No, that tag never
restoration.
came off during
Why
the
is this
restoration.
important?
Well, I believe this is the last Can-Am made. And the reason I'm saying it is because of the date you just pointed to over there is of June of 1977. And the reason that these cars, there was only 1,377 made,
Yeah.
is that the ducktail wing spoiler mold broke. And General Motors decided they didn't want to spend the money to build these with the Grand Prix dashboard. As you notice, that has a Grand Prix dash. All Can-Ams have that. That year, Grand Prix were selling very, very well. So with that being said, they said, forget it, we're going to make the money on the Grand Prix, and they only made 1,377, and some sat on the side. I have the repair date on the spoiler when they shipped it out of there, and this was June. And the spoiler mold broke somewhere in January, the beginning of February.
Wow. And your clock still works.
Yes,
Cool.
everything works. Air conditioning works, everything works. And it still has R12. It never leaked out.
Really?
Yep,
From 77.
yep.
Check out the hood scoop there from the. That's a wonderful view down your hood. So let me also show some of the. First of all, great center console there that wraps around there, and then the door there. Let me show you some actual super new limited edition Le Mans actual advertising in that time frame, so that people could stop, remember the GOAT, the GTO. And then there's some more advertising from that time frame. Let me just flip this over. I'll give you one more. We could read about the Can-Am. And there's the build sheet. I'm trying to get rid of light's not hitting that too brightly. See that clear. Like so. All right, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look under the hood, shall we?
Sure.
Shirley, you want to tell me something under the hood?
Yeah, Jim Wangers was a big man at General Motors.
Yeah.
And he came to our show, and he personally signed that car. And the people who come and see it, if Eric has the hood up,
Yeah.
they are impressed because they know he was a big.
They know
And
who
he
he
told-
is.
he
Advertising at General Motors.
Yeah.
And he set this car
So
up.
he set this car up.
So that was pretty cool.
That's
wasn't it?
still original, all painted around too. This has never been off from the factory. That's still the original one from the factory. This has been taped off and been painted around it.
And we've got. Well, while we've got the hood up, let's turn her over for just a moment. Clearly, we're inside, so we're not going to be able to turn it over too long. But I'll get a quick exhaust note. That's pretty cool with that little shake, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. I just get a little exhaust note. All right, we'll shut that down. That was good. That sounds like that's got a little something to it.
It actually runs out very well.
Yeah.
At that time, there was advertised at 220 horsepower, which
Yeah.
was the net horsepower.
Yeah.
A lot of people get confused about net and brake horsepower. And there was a change from 1972 to 1973, where actually at General Motors, the 71 and 72 cars are identical, but there was a reduction in horsepower with the exact same engines.
Yeah.
So and if you do your research online, you can find that. So actually this car's close to 300, 278 to 300 horsepower stock. And now with true dual exhaust, it is 300 horsepower.
Nice, nice. Let's shut the hood and have you stand right next to it. Shirley, jump in next to your husband.
Okay.
That's all right.
Okay, come on.
A little warm in here.
Guys, thanks so much for being on My Car Story. Wonderful car. Love talking to you.
Lou, thank you very much for asking
having
us.
us,
It's
yeah.
great to be with you today.
My pleasure.
Ours too.
Thank you.
Thank you.